Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Wawa, a 9 to 5 hustler and also a productivity nerd. So today we're going to talk about tips and principles that I apply to get my work done. So let's get to it. So it's a good practice to always have a place where you can put your to-do list. You need to have it written somewhere so you will remember and don't forget things when you actually need it. But writing a to-do list can be ridiculously complex and it can stall you away from the actual priorities. So for me, I use Bullet Journal by Ryder Carroll to help me prioritizing my tasks and strategizing it. And this sort of journaling is designed to help you to find a sweet spot between what you want to do and why you want to do the task. The idea here is to only focus on 3 to 5 priorities that you want to prioritize for today. So I usually divide the list into 3 to 2 or 2 to 3. That means between work and my personal life, so that I won't get overwhelmed with it. Having to put this into practice has allowed me to scribble off the list. By the end of the day, it gives me a sense of satisfaction when I scribble it off and started a new fresh list the next day. Essentially, having a list of priorities will make you feel excited to get to do something because you are achieving a certain milestone, even though it is small. So think of a goal that you want to achieve and break them down into smaller tasks to do. So I have said this before in my previous video that I love Google Calendar, and the concept of calendar blocking and time boxing really works for me because it helps me to keep the system moving. And I use Google Calendar for everything. I track my time there. I also correct the time as things moving. For example, the meeting move or an appointment being cancelled, so I could find the gap that is empty so that I can schedule in my deep work. In Cal Newport's blog, he said that most people tackle their workday using the reactive method. What he means here is the casual approach where you fill your time between the meetings that comes in, the sudden calls, the reacting to emails, and also the Slack chat. Occasionally, there's a mood that hits you and you will try to make progress on the items that plug out of nowhere and it's not part of your to-do list. The problem with this is you are letting other people to drive the activity, and it makes the balance between your important and urgent becomes skewed. You feel busy and then you feel exhausted, that's for sure, but at the end of the day you realize that you're not actually doing or moving the needle on the things that really matter. Scheduling a deep work means you are only working on the particular priorities that you have decided earlier, and then that one thing is the only one thing that is on your calendar and nothing else matters. So during this time, you're not going to care about email, you're not going to care about the Slack channel, you're not going to care about the weather, or even if your kitchen counter needs a cleanup. Nothing else matters to you except for the one thing that you have scheduled on your calendar. If you're working from home ever since pandemic, you know what I'm saying. You might not gonna have interactions with a lot of people outside, only yourself and your work. You're gonna feel like the motivation is flying down, you feel like you're lonely, there's no meaning to the work that you're doing, blah blah blah, all those kind of things that are running in your head right now. Trust me, I know. So one thing that I like to do these days when I schedule a deep work, but at the same time I don't want to feel lonely doing it, I sign up for a working group or a writing group. It's where you can go on a Zoom call or online video call to meet other people around the world who also needs accountability partner to boost their focus and complete their work. I do this to help me to get back on track, and also because it's always good to have an interaction with the outside world while you are trapped in your own house. You may have went through and then applied all the principles that I've shared earlier, but you still can't get your work done. The main key to distraction is, of course, notification. I'm talking about notifications on laptop, notifications on your phone, notifications on Fitbit even, because you connect it all to all kinds of gadgets that you could possibly own. This is one of the reasons why I like to customize my notification. Call it mental, call it too much, I don't care. I have my why, because this is the boundary that I set for myself between me and the world. Some people call it too much. Some people think that, oh, now that you're turning it off, it means that nobody can reach you. What if it's urgent? That's the sentiment around having a notification on. When we receive it, we tend to think that we have to attend to it immediately. Most of the time, it is not. because if it's urgent, it would have been a call instead. So my main distraction while I'm at work is Slack channel. It's like dinging here, dinging there, it's like everywhere, and I can't get things done. So if I want, I would customize the notification at a certain time to allow me focus on my deep work. Or sometimes I just turn off all the notifications on my phone and also my laptop and dive straight into my deep work. So the only thing that I want to remind you about applying this principle is if you have a team or working in a remote team, or maybe you have a family members that really rely on you, it's best for you to plan this ahead of time so that you can announce it to them ahead of time about how much time do you need to actually focus on yourself to get that done. So because of that, you can set the expectations that you're going to be away, because frankly, communication is also key here. One thing that I always want to talk about around here is having time for myself. When I say you time or me time in this context is to do something that energizes you. I usually have this on the second half of my deep work, where I usually take a longer break on the second half because I use Pomodoro technique. But what exactly that I do during the break is something that I learned from a Super Better book by Jane McGonigal. One of the concepts that was introduced in this book is called Power Up. My friend Claire has recommended to me. I can't thank her enough because this book has introduced me to the better way of learning things through gamifying. Like in a game, you eat fruits to gain extra energy, you check into a sport to gain a strength, and then you collect goals just to speed up the move, what have you, right? Gamers would understand this better. Power up in real life can be watching a cute video, calling your boyfriend, texting your mom, or walking on the treadmill for 5 minutes. It could be anything. Do something that energizes you. You just have to do something that's gonna get you power up. I promise you, when you have that power up, you could come back to your desk and get your work done and feeling more refreshed. So we have 5 principles on how I get my work done. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to apply all of these 5 principles to get your work done. You can always take 1 or 2 from the principle and apply it until you get used to it, and then you can always come back to this video and get another principles to apply so that you can get your work moving. Remember, take 1 day at a time because slow growth is still a growth. Frankly, because my friend, everything is workable. Thank you for watching. See you next video. Bye.